Hi guys, welcome to my channel, and today we're going to be doing a flip through of Calvert Publications first grade language arts, but I have units 3 through 10, so we're going to be going over that today so you can get an in-depth look on what each and every book looks like, and that's what we're going to be doing right now. Calvert Publications grade 1 unit 3 language arts. This is going to be the table of contents. Part 1 is consonant digraphs, contractions, making plural words, and the self-test. Part 2 is sentences, rhyming words, possessive words, soft C, and self-test 2. Part 3 is tell your story, compound words, syllables, following directions, soft G, more plural words, writing more sentences, and self-test 3. As we go through each unit, remember to really look at the content within each workbook to ensure that it will be compatible for your homeschool and work well with both your homeschool teaching and learning styles. Having the teacher's edition is highly valuable with this curriculum. As I found it, it gives a teacher's in-depth explanation with what, why, and how to say it. If you're not as confident with teaching language arts or you're new to it, I highly recommend purchasing the bundle to include the teacher's edition, but they can be pricey with bundles starting at $100 or more, so make sure to check eBay out first. This year, we used the Houghton Mifflin English with Wonders Reading Curriculum and All About Reading. I found this curriculum to still be immensely valuable with bridging the gaps by focusing on blending and getting a stronger understanding of the hard and soft sounds with the use of colorful illustrations, pictures to really keep your learner engaged. Table contents. And for table contents is the Language Arts 104 Unit 4. Part 1 is oral directions, consonant blends, rhyming words, cardinal and ordinal numbers, self-test 1. Part 2 is consonant blends, silent letters, rhyming words, subject, verb, agreement, sequence, and self-test. Okay. Part 3 is consonant page, telling a story, writing stories, verb form, sequence, and self-test 3, and then test pull-out. Every workbook starts out with the page reintroducing familiar characters that explain to the learner their tasks and how they will help. You will see as the unit number increases, so does the amount of work. Keep in mind that this is a mastery curriculum and that it builds as the units are completed. And as you can see throughout the workbook, the characters are illustrated near the most important elements or giving helpful tips to the learner. They really are highlighting and making learning fun as they appear at different parts throughout the workbook. One thing to note that although these characters make learning fun, some of the word lists to memorize I found with my daughter very lengthy, so I would write them down and go over them throughout the week or try to tear out the page and put them in our binder so that we can go over them in a later time. So this is Unit 5. Part 1 is long A, long E, possessive words, long I, rhyming words, and self-test 1. Then there's long O, long U, compound words, plural words, contractions, and self-test 2. Part 3 is predicting outcomes, double consonants, syllables, self-test 3, and test pull-out. The great part of Calvert Publications is the colorful activities that keep all little learners engaged through the interactive coloring, copy work, or verbal lessons. This will keep the lesson flow at a higher pace while being fun yet exciting. And as we're going over these unit workbooks together, really take an in-depth look at each and every page, especially as the units progress in number, to make sure that the amount of work will be sufficient for you and your little learner to complete during the year. So don't forget, if you need to, take an extra moment, pause this video wherever you see fit to really read the directions, see the work that your child will have to complete throughout the year, and get a better understanding if this curriculum will be a good fit for you and your family. Calvert Publications is a little bit higher end on the budget. They normally typically start at $105 on up for the homeschool bundle, but there are some great deals on eBay. Unit 6. Part 1 is R, controlled vowels, reading a story, and self-test. Part 2 is possessive words, contractions, plural words, stories, manners, and self-test 2. Love the manners that are in there. Part 3 is understanding stories, pronouns, rhyming words, following directions or follow directions, self-test 3, and test pull-out. And the recurring page of all the fun characters. As we're going through all the units, you may notice that each unit has a recurring theme. And in this one, it's the focus on art and storytelling, and as well as social emotional learning through manners and following directions. So this helps incorporate other subjects, just briefly touching base as you're learning grammar, English, and reading. And as you can see, it also goes over sequence of storytelling, ordinal numbers, and just order in general, which does not only just help in the storytell method, but also helps with math, order, and organization. These maps and different types of activities will really help your learner engage, especially when one touches base with one of their favorite subjects. Is Unit 7. So Unit 7 is, Part 1 is long A sound, compound words, long E sound, rhyming words, sentences, verb forms, syllables, kinds of sentences, and self-test 1. Part 2 is sequences, consonants, blends, and suffixes, main idea, contents page, self-test 2. Part 3 is letters, verb forms, more fun with words, self-test 3, and test pull-out. So you can see there's a lot more in Part 1 and just a lot more. We are at Unit 8. Part 1 is vowel digraphs, real or make-believe, possessive words, verb forms, alphabetical order, self-test. Part 2 is contractions, word with QU, main ideas, plural words, subject agreement, plural words, rhyming words, and self-test 2. Part 3, writing sentences, sequence, compound words, self-test 3. And you can see as we go on, now they're getting heavier in Part 1 and 2. Unit 9, OU, OW, syllables, subject, verb, agreement, contraction, self-test, and then Part 2, and then Part 3. This is Unit 10. This is the last one of first grade, and Part 1 is letters, sounds, and words, consonant digraphs, Using the correct word, alphabetical order, sequence in self-test 1, follow directions, sound of Y, silent letters, pronouns, grouping, plural words, main idea, contents page, and self-test 2. Part 3 is kinds of sentences, subject verb agreement, contractions, possessive words, self-test 3. And as we progress into Unit 10, you can look at the pages and see that there is a higher demand of writing and skill set as you're completing this unit. The learner has to read some questions and answer them, as well as fill in some gaps, capital letters, and kind of go over what they've learned in the past just to enhance their memory on the prior lessons. And it goes over kinds of sentences, statements, questions, exclamations, so punctuation as well. And this is just a really great part to learn about grammar. It really marries it with whatever curriculum you're using as a whole, or this may be your core curriculum. But either way, it would mean so much to me if you'd like, subscribe, and share this video with your fellow homeschool community. And I will see you shortly in the next one. Bye-bye.